We're splitting the fourth and final section of Unit 5 up into two separate days. So both of these days will be committed to solving multi-step inequalities. Again, still standard AF1, or excuse me, 8AF1, where solving linear inequalities with fractions, decimals, integers, and the distributive property, also representing and solving real-world problems using linear inequalities. So if we haven't written these steps down yet, we need to do that. So how to solve multi-step inequalities. You would solve them just like you would any equation. We're going to distribute first, then we're going to clear out fractions, we're going to get the variable on the same side, move the constant to the other side, and then divide by the coefficient. So lots of steps to solving inequalities, but they're just like you do when you solve equations. So you want to make sure that you do write this down. Also remember, when multiplying or dividing by a negative, you flip the inequality symbol. That's very important. And so is always making sure that your variable's on the left. And that's for graphing purposes. We want to make sure that when graphing, we shade things the correct way. So solve the inequality. We don't have to graph for this part of the lesson. I'm pretty sure after you get the right answer, confident that you are good at the graphing now. So what we're going to do is just solve the inequality. So just like an equation, we have two operations, multiplication and addition. We undo the addition first. So we're going to subtract 17 from both sides. That's the opposite of addition. That gives us 5x is less than negative 15. 2 minus 17 is negative 15. Now we're going to divide both sides by 5. That gives us x is less than negative 3. And this is our answer. Again, we don't have to graph. If you want to check your inequality, you can't use the number 3 or negative 3 to check. You have to pick something that's actually less than negative 3 to see if it's true. So if we wanted to check this, let's try a value that is less than negative 3, like negative 4. So for a check, you would plug in something less than negative 3, for example, negative 4. 5 times negative 4 plus 17, is that less than 2? So that's negative 20 plus 17, that's negative 3, less than 2. And so that works. So then you know that all the answers less than negative 3 will work. On example 2, we have the distributive property. So the first thing that we need to do is distribute. So remember that 5 times 3 and 5 times the negative t. So it's 15 minus 5t less than 7. Again, we want to move the constant to the other side first. So we're going to subtract 15. Remember, this subtraction sign goes with the 5t. It makes the 5t negative. This 15 is positive. So because it's positive, we need to subtract 15 from both sides. We bring down a negative 5t, don't forget that. And then 7 minus 15 is negative 8. Now we're going to divide by negative 5. Remember, when you divide by a negative, you're automatically going to flip your symbol. So we get t is greater than negative 8 divided by negative 5. It's going to be a positive. So we're going to put 8/5. And it doesn't reduce. You could simplify it to a mixed number, or you could leave it improper. Number 3, we have 1/2 a plus 5 is greater than or equal to -1. So we want to, again, start by getting rid of the constant. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Bring down the 1/2 a greater than or equal to -6. Now, just as if this were a whole number, an integer constant or coefficient, you would just divide by whatever's in front of the a. So we're going to divide by 1/2. We're going to divide both sides by 1/2. Now, if you have a calculator, you can just do -6 divided by 0.5, or if you remember, when you are dividing fractions, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, and that gives us -12 over 1, or just -12. So a is greater than or equal to -12. Number 4, we have distributive property again, so that's where we're going to start by distributing the 3 through the parentheses. So we have 21 is less than or equal to 12y minus 3. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. 21 plus 3 is 24. 24 is less than or equal to 12y, so we're going to divide both sides by 12. And we get 2 is less than or equal to y. But remember that we want to write our inequality with the variable on the left. So we rewrite it by flipping everything around, including the symbol. So now instead of 2 is less than or equal to y, we have y is greater than or equal to 2. And once you've watched the video, you can go ahead and show me your notes, and I will give you the worksheet 5.4a.